did you think D&D was when you first heard of it? Before you started playing?
A thing where we got to fight a bunch of goblins, and I was okay with just fighting goblins. And my entire first campaign was, in fact, fighting goblins.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, mine was a bit... I had a bit of a broader understanding of what it was. But I was definitely not ready for the roleplay when I first started. I'm still not, to be honest.
Ironically, I'm better at the roleplay side of things than I am the combat side of things.
See, I'm terrible at roleplay, even today.
I'm good enough at it that we can go an hour and a half. Literally just like an emotional scene. And it won't be ruined by either me or my friend. Because we know when to mute the mic.
Mm. It's such a weird dichotomy. Like, between... I'm going to refer to them as the insane group of friends. I'll let you decide. Actually, no, I'm going to decide which one's which. Yeah. The insane group of friends is the Cody, the Jared, all of them. And then the sane group of friends is my D&D friends. In terms of roleplay, I'm like in the middle of both of those groups of friends.
Right.
I'm a lot better at roleplay than like Jared and Cody, all of them. Nah, maybe not Cody. I guess we tried more. He could be better than me. But I'm like, compared to my D&D friends, I look like a bystander. It's brutal sometimes. In fact, it actually makes me wonder if I'm just taking up a spot at the table. Because they're like...
I mean, if I thought that, they'd probably boot you. Let's be realistic here.
Yeah. I mean, from what the DM said, he plays with people because he wants those people around.
Yeah.
But I can't help shake the feeling that there's just someone else who should be at that spot than me. Like, the campaign moves on without me, and, like, I occasionally have something to say. There's, like, this dramatic scene going on, and then a few moments later, I'm like, alright, so we were going to the Goblin Cave, right? It's brutal.
You see, I saved that for after the entire scene. It was like, nah, wait a second. Where were we going again?
I am like that. I suck when it comes to, like, what is your character doing? I kind of dread that question, to be honest, because I don't know.
See, I have a really simple trick to get around that.
Oh, you do?
I do.
I learn something new every podcast. Lay it on me.
So, I tend to, of course we all have themes with our characters,
Yeah.
Like my wizard turned warlock is a scholar. So I literally go, alright, so what is your character doing if we're on downtime? I'm like, well, he's studying something. Like, simple things like that. Even if it's just like, hey, he's just sitting around. It's a really easy question to answer. As long as you don't try to get too complex with it. Unless you're like me, who always gets complex with it, but that's because my GM expects it, and a lot of our sessions take
my character is contemplating the meaning of life.
Alright, roll D20 to see if you get it.
At 20.
Oh, you figured out why.
My life is complete. I'm going to retire my character. I have nothing else to go for.
I don't know what am I supposed to do now. I'm ascending into nirvana. Man, none of my characters have like really profound goals. Like even my scholar.
Mine neither.
Even my scholar turned warlock is literally like, alright, I'm gonna find this book and then go right back to my library where I belong. He's currently 2 countries over without any money. But he will find a way over. I don't know how, but he has magic.
Meanwhile, like 7 other books have been stolen from his library.
Look, just because he's gone doesn't mean there isn't a librarian.
I think, I'm definitely a lot better at making evil characters. I can think of one character I've thought of that actually had goals. He had like this elaborate plan to have a monopoly on all flowers. So if I saw a flower, I either killed it or took it with me because I had a bag of holding. My plan was to be essentially work my way from the bottom to eventually acquire like all the flower stores in one town and eventually keep moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not the best plan considering what type of game this is, but it was something. I had goals. They weren't good goals, but they were goals.
They were gold nonetheless.
They were golden goals. They were evil goals.
Of course.
Corporate greed.
Can't have an evil character without evil goals.
Yes. It's terrible. You know, I might as well jump into. So, I briefly mentioned this, but my D&D group of friends is now 2 groups of friends.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things. In fact, let me text Jay. Hold on. Jay knows. Jay is one of those.
I sort of hope Jay's the GM because he sounds like the GM.
No, he is not.
Because Jay's a GM name.
Let me see. So the reason the group split is because of one person in particular.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be the GM.
Oh no.
He was an adversarial GM. Let me see. There he is. Alright, hopefully he responds by the time we cut this off. Yeah, he was an adversarial GM. I think the only reason we didn't leave... Actually, no, I do know the only reason we didn't leave sooner is because the rest of us wanted to see each other. That was pretty much the only time we actually saw each other, except for like a few fringe instances where some people met for like bowling and stuff outside a game.
Right.
The rest of us, well, I mean, we all were friends at the time, but some people were more friends than others. Specifically excluding our GM. I don't know if I want to say their names or not. It's kind of... Let me see. Ooh. I can think of character names. I can't remember all the character names. I'm going to call this GM Bulgerball, because that's what he wanted to be called in our Facebook chat. And that was... I think that was his favorite villain character in that campaign. That was the big bad guy we were after. Bulgerball. It was the little things that Bulgerball did that really got to us. But there's some really big no-nos he pulled. First off, you should know, he is a power gamer. He's always claimed to be a power gamer. He's not ashamed of being a power gamer. He's also a min-maxer, so...
There's no shame in min-maxing.
We were playing 5e, but he was more comfortable with 3.5. He was versed in 3.5, that's where he started. It's all that. It was actually my first time playing D&D when we sat down to play with this dude. So I wasn't too familiar with 5e myself, so I just kind of went with whatever happened. Looking back at it now, there's a lot of things he did that just don't exist in 5e. So like DR. He gave a lot of his enemies DR. For, I think that's what it is, damage resistance.
I know of it.
Apparently that doesn't exist in 5e.
It's called resistance in 5e.
It is?
Pretty sure.
Like I think the worst of it was like we were fighting like goblins or something and they had like DR10 armor. So like unless we did more than 10 damage, they wouldn't take any damage.
Why? What level were you?
We were like level 4 or something.
Alright, that isn't nearly as bad.
It kind of got annoying.
I can see how it's annoying, but it's not terrible.
Yeah. I think the worst thing he did though, he would give us like powerful items.
Right.
And then use that as a justification to try and kill our characters. The worst of it is at the time we were playing. We were, what was it? Something had just come out for D&D. It was like the Tomb of Horrors had just come out for D&D.
Right.
We were 5th level. Through like a Deus Ex Machina, because he was a super big fan of the Tomb of Horrors. Just really, really wanted us to go there. He had like this dragon transport us to the Tomb of Horrors at 5th level. He had given one of our characters this gauntlet or something. She was like a druid, and it gave her ×3 to her power, ×3 to her attack strength, ×3 to hit. She could cast like spells 3 extra times. It was quite a ridiculous ability to be given to one character.
Right.
It was, I mean, he didn't like outright say it until we confronted him about it, but it was very obvious he wanted that character dead. Every trap that got set off was aimed to try and get, oh yeah, actually no, there's a few other things. There's a few other ways he tried to kill that character before we got to the Tomb of Horrors. I'm surprised he just didn't at one point say no to some of our attempts to stop that.
Rocks fall. Session restart.
Yeah. Let me see. I think we were going up against a Mind Flayer at some point. I think that's what it was. Yeah, we were camping for the night. Everyone except for 2 people were asleep. One of those was, I'm going to call her Xena, because that's not a real name. Xena was the druid character. She was awake, and then one other person, I believe, Jay's character. Forgot his name. So Jay and Xena were awake.
Right.
Everyone fails their perception check, except for Xena, of course. So she gets, I don't know how it happened, but she essentially falls unconscious, and she's being dragged away by this Mind Flayer. We're level 4, by the way. I'm not sure how big of a difference that makes, but eventually Jay's character realizes something's wrong, wakes up the rest of us. We go find that this Mind Flayer is about to take a big bite out of Xena. I'm pretty sure he invented new abilities for that Mind Flayer. I can't remember them off the top of my head. But thankfully, because of Jay's character...
What edition is this then?
This is 5e.
I'm currently looking up
Mind Flayer stats.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been too big a deal for 4th level. Especially with our party and some of the broken items he gave us. Anyway, we're eventually able to save her. But not after like this huge argument over how an ability works. I forget what that... Damn. Jay, come through.
Jay, come on.
Well, he probably remembers this a lot better than I do. He actually wrote like 2 Reddit posts about it.
Gee.
Yeah.
You know, I think you're right. He might know more about it than you.
Jay's character was a cleric. He was a warlock cleric, actually. He multi-classed.
I like this man already.
Yeah, he was actually pretty cool. He had an obvious theme going on. Oh. I wonder if Jay come through. I'm remembering this in pieces. Sorry, guys. Because I just remembered something huge that pissed off Jay specifically.
No, man. Jay seems cool, so anything that angers him. Yikes.
Volgraval gave Jay a baby dragon. And Jay loved this dragon. Yeah, obviously, it's like, you know, somewhat of a mother figure in the group.
Right.
Eventually, we got a new player in. He He's our current GM, actually. I'm going to call him...
Oh, mind flayers are some nasty.
I don't know what to call him. I'm going to leave him blank for right now. The only reason that he let that character into the group is so he could kill that dragon.
First of all, rude.
Yeah. Something else. Well, the dragon was also like somewhat of a spellcaster. I think all dragons are actually. I guess he feared that this dragon would become too powerful. But at that point, why give it to us? That was the biggest thing. Why give it to us if it's going to be that powerful? We're pretty low-level characters.
Why give it to you if you plan on doing that? Immediately, anyway.
Yeah.
If you do it at level 10, there's a different story right there.
Another kind of fucked up thing he did. Jay's character specifically. Keep in mind, Jay's a warlock cleric.
Right.
We're eventually kind of forced out of the Tomb of Horrors. I guess, like, it was obviously like a Deus Ex Machina moment, but Bolgraval probably realized that this wasn't the best idea. A lot of people are angry at him because we're calling him out on bullshit. He's obviously trying to... Actually, no, he did eventually succeed in killing Xena. She picked up like a doll in it. She died instantly. I think that actually is a trap in the Tomb of Horrors. So, but... still kind of...
If he wanted to do that, he should have just said rocks fall. In the session and leave. Come on now.
We eventually make it out of the Tomb of Horrors. We find out that there's actually been a time skip where like a few years, like a few decades into the future, we're also immediately boosted from level 5 to level 12, I believe. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. He's a huge fan of time skip, I guess. One of the things that happens though during the time that we were gone is that the gods are defeated. All the gods are just defeated. Their gods have abandoned this world. Also, Jay's character his patron was the Raven Queen. She, specifically, is also defeated by Bolgraval. Not the GM, but like the actual villain Bolgraval. What that means is, after that time skip, we get out. Jay's character has no abilities. If it's clerical related or warlock related, he has no abilities whatsoever. Yes, his gods have literally abandoned him.
That sounds sauce.
Also, his dragon is currently enslaved. Just add insult to injury. There's a few reasons I can think of as to why that specifically happened. Jay, whenever was trying to kill a character, it was usually Jay, because he's a cleric, that kind of just stepped in and helped us out. He was the MVP of the group.
Right.
He's the reason that we didn't all succumb to Bolgraval's BS. Also, one thing I failed to mention, Bolgraval in real life and Jay in real life are gay. They first met on Grindr, whatever that app is.
This is a roller coaster.
I know. From what Jay says, he just kind of like texted him like, "Hey, you want to smash?" And then Bolgraval was like, "No," and Jay was like, "Okay," and then that was that. But I guess some other things happened to where they just weren't the hugest fans of each other. Or I guess Bolgraval wasn't the hugest fan of Jay. And I guess he took it out in game. Because for whatever reason he couldn't do it in real life. He might hear this. I don't care. Actually, no, I'm probably going to refrain from showing it to both groups. Because then they'll want to come on the podcast. And they're going to want to share their stories. And it's going to be a huge argument if the other group finds out.
But then there's me.
Yeah. They don't know you, so you're fine. I'm sorry I'm taking over this entire podcast, but this...
What are they gonna do? Find me and hunt me down?
You were there with our friend, even though you had nothing to do with us. But you were there on that show.
I'll belly bump them out your window. They can't handle it.
I might go more into detail if, Jay responds. Because he definitely has a better understanding of all the things that happened. Oh, another thing I should end on. I also briefly mentioned that we had to start and stop a lot of games. That was specifically because of that GM. Eventually, we would reach a huge tension point, or he'd realize he made too many mistakes, and we're just gonna start a new game. And we kept doing that quite a bit, and then eventually, that one friend, or that one character, I'm gonna call him Olaf. There it is. Olaf was actually also a GM at one point. So he GM'd sometimes in between the times when Bolgraval wanted to stop. And then eventually Bolgraval would be, I want to GM again too. So we'd stop his game, go back to Bolgraval, and then the cycle would continue. Start and stop. Eventually we reached a huge... Where's Olaf? No, I'm not going to do that. A huge tension point in our final game as one group. Essentially, one character wanted to leave. The other character was willing to help him. But the town would not let that happen because of something they had. It essentially became a show of just the three of them arguing and trying to fight their way out. It was... I guess if you listened to what they were saying, it was entertaining, but it was pretty boring for the rest of us. We were just all done at that point. And after that, I think maybe a few fringe games with some other people, but the group split forever afterwards.
Ooh.
I think it's for the better, though.
From what I'm hearing, yeah.
Yeah. We're at least on one game currently. I don't think I'm ever going to make it to level 20. But...
I've never made it to level 20.
Oh. I'd at least like to make it to level 10 without a time skip.
I hate time skips that give levels.
In that last game, we jumped from level 7 to level 15 in one action.
Now hold on a sec. That's... You have me bamboozled. What do you mean in one action?
Another thing, actually both of them like to do, is have these MacGuffins that are supposed to stop the bad guy. My MacGuffin in particular was a rock. Not an object rock, the bird rock. Those, big birds.
Right.
Yeah. Somewhat prehistoric.
Yeah, I know of them.
It was like a sentient rock. It spoke. In order for us to be strong enough to beat the bad guy, he decided, you know what? I'm sacrificing myself, have my power. And I guess through that power, all of us went from level 7 to level 15.
That was one powerful bird.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I didn't like it because I really liked that rock, but I was...
Not only that, that's an hour of updating sheets.
Oh, yeah.
Leveling up once is hectic. Leveling up 6 times in one go. Ooh.